So we've all heard the famous quote of we all have 24 hours in a day to get stuff done, right? So why then are some people more successful and more wealthy versus some people are, obviously poorer and, not as successful, right? But I'm gonna take it, very, very similar, but a different spin on it. Well, we all have very, very similar machinery and systems that we operate on a day-to-day basis to get the things that we need to get done, right? And so I would argue that we all have, similar bodies, the most of us obviously, and we all have, a brain that we're working with. So how can you then optimize those things and optimize those systems to get and produce the most that you can every single day? Because ultimately, if you're producing more consistently over time, you will then be more successful and make more money, right? Nobody is successful overnight. And so if you implement these 10 things that we're gonna cover in today's video, it will make you more successful, it will make you more money, and ultimately, whatever you choose, it doesn't matter if you're doing online arbitrage or, any form of reselling, for example, or content creation or whatever it is, any entrepreneurial task, anything that you wanna accomplish in your life, these will make it easier to get done, okay? Now, I'm also not gonna pretend that I'm a pro with all 10 of these, right? These are things that I've definitely implemented to a significant degree in my own life and have reaped the rewards and benefits of, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm a pro with every single one of these and preach to you. Some of these are things that I'm still working on in my own life, but I will cover them all and give you my own anecdotal experience with them, so I can kind of level with you and give you my experience on how it's helped me, how I've struggled with it, and then maybe you'll relate to that a little bit better. First and foremost is meditating. Now, full disclosure, I am not a pro at meditating. It's something that I've tried to implement, significantly and consistently for the past 4 to 5 months or so, right? And there have been windows of time for about 2 months where I've meditated for 10 to 20 minutes every single day. And then I fall off for a week or two and I'm like, I gotta get back into that because I've seen the rewards. I've seen how that's helped me in my own personal life and in my business and, produce more and make more money. And I understand why it's beneficial. So I get back into it, right? And then I fall off again and I get back into it. So initially I started off meditating about 10 to 20 minutes every single day, fell off a little bit, got back into it, and now I found a sweet spot of 5 to 10 minutes every single day. I don't kind of like to set it and be I need to do this for 10 minutes every single day because then it kind of feels like a chore that I need to get done. Although sometimes I'll go 5 minutes, sometimes I'll go 10 minutes, sometimes I'll go 15 if I have a little bit more time. But regardless of what you're doing, it will help you because it's gonna give you that exponential growth factor, right? It's gonna make you more focused for the long term. A lot of people look at meditation and they don't necessarily understand it, and I was definitely one of those people as well, right? You sit there and you're like, why would I waste 10 minutes of my day meditating when I can just spend that 10 minutes executing on a task and getting more done? But that's the wrong approach. Meditating is so beneficial in a number of ways. It helps you practice your breathing, which breathing is literally everything in life. It's gonna help you be more grounded. It's gonna help you be more, controlled of your environment, more sure, more confident, and not a lot of biological stuff. I don't really wanna get into in this, specific video, but just balancing out the carbon dioxide in your body is really gonna help you execute on daily tasks, right? On top of that, you can't look at it as you're saving 10 minutes by not meditating, or you're saving 20 minutes by not meditating, or you're wasting your time. Instead, what you need to do is, you need to look at it as an investment, right? You're investing 10 minutes of your time. Maybe you can look at it as wasting it, but really you're investing 10 minutes of your time so that you're more controlled, you're practicing your focus in that time, and then you can apply that practice and that focus to the rest of your day. And, if you would be, let's say 80% of the way productive without meditating, with meditating you might be 100 or 95, right? So you're getting more done in that smaller window of time for just 10 minutes. Think of it as a multiplier, right? I like to liken it as pretend you're going through a video game, right? Like Mario Kart or something like that, right? You want to get those coins because if you collect that meditation, it will, apply to the rest of your day. So it's kind of a cheesy way to look at it, but hopefully you understand that and you relate to it. Meditating, for those of you that don't know, there's many ways to kind of approach it. You can use an app if you want to. Another way that I basically do it is I'll just put a timer on my phone for 5-10 minutes or whatever it is every single morning. I try to do it every single morning, like I said. And then ultimately what I'll do is I'll literally just practice my breathing, right? Deep breaths in, deep breaths out, focus, and then every single time I find that my mind is wandering, right, I literally come back to the breath. I focus on either my nose, or a lot of the apps will tell you this. If you want to get into it, just use an app and then kind of slowly you can break away from the app, or focus on like your chest or your sternum right here and just focus on the breath. What this ultimately does is it allows you to practice focus a little bit better. So if you're in your business, or if you're going to work, or whatever it is, or if you're reading a book, you will be able to focus on that, because a lot of the reasons that people don't get stuff done these days are because there's so many distractions everywhere, right? There's notifications on the computer, there's people calling you, there's on your phone, there's so many push notifications. And so if you practice meditation, it will put you levels above every single other person. And remember, you don't have to be a pro about it, right? Like, you don't have to be like, I meditate 20 to 30 minutes every single day and it's done all these things for me. Try it out. I know some people that don't like it that much and they don't use it and they're very successful, right? And I also know people that love it, use it, and are very successful as well, right? So try it out, at least try it out if you haven't, and you will see, the benefits of it. And hey, if you don't like it, you haven't really lost anything, but at least you tried. So that's number one, meditation. Number two is journaling, okay? So journaling is a great way to be more productive, especially as an entrepreneur, but this obviously goes for everybody. Now, I used to journal in the beginning of the day, but what I like to do now, and I'll try to pull it up and maybe I can turn it a little bit, what I'll do is I'll journal at the end of the day, right? And what that basically does, I don't know if you can see this, journal, and look how much journaling there is right here, like so much, right? And so what I'll do is I'll journal at the end of the day, because it's kind of like a brain dump for me. And so that way when I'm going to sleep, right, like I'm not literally sitting there like my mind is still awake thinking about the things that I need to get done. I know that I've put that down on paper, so if I need to go back to the things and the tasks that were bothering me, or whatever it is on that day, I can always go back and look at them, right? They're not sitting there as like a checklist in my mind. And if you're an entrepreneur, I'm sure you can relate to that. I've gone so many nights like restless, not able to sleep, because I'm worried about stuff in my mind. But a simple way to execute on that is to literally just do a brain dump and journal at the end of the day. And that will allow you to brain dump all that stuff into your journal or into the paper or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be on the computer, right? You can write it in a notebook if you want to. I also used to do it on my phone in like the notepad, although that gets a little bit long and kind of drawn out. But it's really going to help you kind of sleep better, which is going to be a theme that we'll talk about here in a second, as well as produce more the next day, because you won't really be focused on things that don't really matter, okay? You don't need to, constantly be thinking of all these things. It's going to block you from executing on the things that actually matter, because you're going to be worried about little things that don't matter, okay? And just a little hack, I used to kind of, just journal whatever that popped into my mind, and that kind of can work as well. But one way that I've really kind of found there, so I'll write down five sets of 3 things, and this really helps me, okay? So in the mornings, I always write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. I think that's a really great way to start your day. Start your great day with gratitude, instead of being like, what do I need to get done, or what I don't have, right? So I always write down 5 things that I'm grateful for in the right when I wake up, okay? Great way to start your day. Highly recommended, okay? So then I'll literally write this in my journal, just to kind of recap, to kind of go back to gratitude. I'll say, what are 5 things that I'm grateful for today? I'll list those 5 things out, and obviously I've already done that in the morning, okay? The next 5 things I'll write are, what are 5 things I've learned today, right? And this is good to kind of recap and think like, okay, what are the important lessons that I can take from today? What have I learned anecdotally? And just writing them down will allow you to relive them, relearn them, and then you'll remember them a little bit better next time, okay? And the next 5 things are, what are 5 wins that I had today? They can be big, they can be small, they can be, in between or whatever it is. But what are 5 wins that you had today? Allowing yourself to relive those things will basically, inspire you to continue to wake up the next day and kind of build that momentum, right? Because if you're recapping whether they're small or big wins, ultimately it's going to remind you, and you're going to be satisfied with the day, and you're going to remind yourself of things that you got done, so you're moving closer toward your goal. Because at the end of the day, happiness ultimately is just, kind of progressing on your purpose, and happiness is progress, I guess, is the best way that I could put it, okay? So there you go with that. Journaling, that's another great way to do it. So next one is one of my favorites, and this one's recent. I've kind of picked this up, I don't know if it was like 2-3 months ago, but this thing has been a game changer for me. So it's a timed lockbox, right? So what you do is, I'll demonstrate right here, is you can put anything in here, right? And this is also great, like if you're in like a relationship too, like you just put your phones in there and like spend quality time together, although I don't really use it like that, I probably should. So what I'll do is, if I need to like get focused work blocking, right? I need to write some important sales copy for like a landing page, right? Or I need to record videos like this, right? And I know full-heartedly that this thing's gonna distract me, as it distracts all of us. What I'll do is I'll put it in here, and I'll shut this right here, and I'll literally put the timed lockbox down. There's like a dial on top, and you can literally put like, okay, an hour. I'll put it for 30 minutes right here really fast. Boom, 30 minutes, and then it'll count down and you'll see it slowly pop out and lock. And here it goes. Boom, and now I can't access my phone, right? I literally can't get this thing off, period. The only way that I could get this thing off before 30 minutes is literally to break the thing, okay? So now I can't access my phone, so now I know I won't be distracted, okay? And for those of you out there that struggle with this thing's a game changer, because once you lock this thing, you have no other choice but get work done, okay? Telling you, highly recommend this, timed lockbox. I'll be sure to link that down in the description. I think you can get that on Amazon, so I'll find the link to it. I'm telling you, try that out. It's really gonna help you stay focused and avoid distractions. And you don't have to do it for long, just build yourself up. I think the longest I've ever done it was like 2 hours, because obviously we all have like that withdrawal feeling when we get away from our phones. But I'm telling you, just put it in there for 10, 20 minutes. It will allow you to focus and it will really help you get more done. Obviously that will help you make more money. So the next one is to print out and write out your tasks, right? You don't want to refer, I was going to pull my phone up as a prop here, but clearly it's locked now. So you don't want to constantly, what I used to do is I used to put like all my to-do things in my notepad on my phone. But what that would do is every single time I would open my phone to check it, right, I was that much closer to just going to Instagram, right, or going to TikTok, or going to Facebook, or whatever it is, or checking my YouTube comments, right, or checking my email, whatever it is for you. And so if you can kind of avoid that and get your phone away by simply literally taking those tasks out, it's okay to write them down, you know, the night before potentially in your notepad, but then print those tasks out a lot like this. I do this everywhere. Look, I print them out, I highlight them, the day's tasks. Now these aren't necessarily tasks, but I do this every single day. And what that basically does is it takes that barrier away, right? I'm not constantly checking my phone, and I'm that much further away from a possible distraction, right? I can literally look at my sheet on paper and just highlight them or cross them off, and I'm not, you know, potentially distracted by opening up my phone, okay? So that's another little tip and a little trick that's gonna make you more productive and ultimately avoid distractions so that you can make more money. Now the next one's one that I'm wearing, and I'm fairly new to this, but this Oura ring in the, you know, I don't know, month-ish that I've had it has been a complete game changer for me as well. The Oura ring is a lot like a Fitbit in a lot of ways, and it's a lot like an Apple Watch in a lot of ways. It tracks your calories, it tracks like your resting heart rate, it tracks all that good stuff, it tracks all like your health and fitness stuff, and you can integrate all that stuff in the Oura ring. I'd show you on the app, but obviously my phone is locked right now, so there's a corresponding app that comes with it. And this thing has been a game changer, but the main way that I recommend that entrepreneurs or people in general that want to achieve more use the Oura ring is basically so that you can use it to track your sleep, right? What it does is it tracks your sleep, how long you slept, right? Your latency, or how, you know, how tossy-turny you were, how, you know, how long you were in bed, how long you actually slept for, how long you had deep sleep, how long you had REM sleep, all of that good stuff, and then gives you recommendations on whether you should, you know, scale up and work hard that day if you got a good night's sleep, or if you should kind of tailor it back. Because ultimately, and this is, you know, something else I'd recommend that you look into, why we sleep. Understanding your sleep patterns, understanding how you can get more out of your software, out of your body, right? It's by sleeping more, and you'll be more productive by doing so. So track it with the Oura ring, understand why you sleep. I'll link this as well if you want to check it out. It's ultimately going to make you more productive every single day, because what you track, you can improve. If you're not tracking it, then ultimately you're just guessing based on feeling. One of the things that I've noticed is, and this is something we're going to talk about as well, if I power down and I shut off like blue light and red light as well, right? A lot of people think blue light's bad, but red light's just as bad, and not just as bad, but it's bad in a lot of ways as well. So if I power down early, maybe like 9 o'clock, and I'm in bed by like 9:30, 10 or whatever it is, and then I wake up at like 5 or 6, I feel often more rested. On top of that, another thing I've noticed is, you know, cutting out alcohol. When I drink, I get like no sleep, okay? And I get like sleep, but I don't get any deep or REM sleep, right? So tracking those things is literally going to show you all the data in the app so that you can optimize, improve, and be more productive and make more money. So Oura ring, check it out. Highly recommend that. Like I said, I'll link Why We Sleep. That book's by, forget the author, Matthew Walker. He was interviewed by Joe Rogan if you want to check out the podcast as well. A lot of great info in the podcast, a lot of great info in the book. Highly recommend that you check them both out. Now that ties me into the next one, which is improving your sleep, which is blue light blockers. Now, there are expensive blue light blockers out there that are like cool shades. These ones don't really look that cool, believe it or not, and I think it kind of makes me look geeky by just like putting these on, but I'm telling you, these are a game changer. They were literally $12 on Amazon. $12. I will link these, the exact ones that I bought on Amazon for you guys if you want to check them out. $12 to literally avoid blue light blockers or avoid blue light when it's like 8, 9, 10, right? Because ultimately what that does is blocking out blue light signals to your brain to increase your melatonin production and allow you to potentially unwind for sleep so you can get better sleep, right? If you're constantly staring at a screen, and we're all doing that, whether it's a TV, whether it's a computer, whether it's a phone, whatever, we're all staring at blue light constantly. And if you're staring at blue light all the way up until you get into bed, or even in bed, your sleep's gonna suffer and the ability to get to sleep is gonna suffer, right? So if you can cut out the blue light blocker, or cut out the blue light by literally wearing blue light blockers, and you don't have to wear them obviously that much, maybe like an hour before you go to bed, maybe 2 hours would be, probably more beneficial, but $12 to block out some blue light is a game changer, okay? Now, if you don't have blue light blockers, and I do this as well, right? Or if you don't want to spend money on this, what you can do is set the not the do not disturb, excuse me. Set the timers on your phone to go to night mode, okay? So there's night mode on your phone. You can set that timer. If you go into settings and you like look at night mode, you can literally turn night mode on and turn it off when like sunset goes down. Light mode on your phone automatically turns, or night mode on your phone automatically turns on, and the blue light goes away, right? So it'll be a little bit more dimmer. It's perfect for you if you don't want to get these. I recommend doing them both, but if you don't want to get these, at least do that. Same thing with your computers, okay? So if you turn, my laptop does this, so does my desktop. What I basically do is I'll turn on the automatic timers, so when sunset's recorded, no matter what time of day that is, obviously my clock on my computers basically know that, and then it immediately turns the blue light on and it goes a little bit dim, and then I can get better sleep, okay? So that's what I definitely recommend, okay? If all else fails and you don't want to do that, or you can't really understand how to do that, obviously you should be doing those things. At least dim the lights in your house. That's basically going to give you a similar effect, just not as effective, okay? So blue light blockers would be, I think, number 6, and then number 7 is obviously scheduling night mode if you don't want to go ahead and get the blue light blockers. Both of those are complete game changers for you, okay? The next one is something that I actually recently just pulled the trigger on, kind of, and that is meal preps, okay? So for the longest time, I literally love to go to the grocery store, basically, buy my own meals essentially. Then I cook them because I know what I'm getting. I'm into nutrition, I'm into fitness, so like I know what I like to make, obviously. I like to choose my meals and then, obviously make them. But that takes a lot of time, right? So what I've learned is if I can find a good meal prep company, and the one that I ordered from is Icon Meals, test it out a little bit more. I don't want to kind of jump the gun and be like, go get this, right? But there's a million meal prep companies out there. They tell you the macros, so like your protein, your carbs, and your fat, right? The calories that are in it, so you know exactly what's going in your body. And ultimately, the reason that I got it and I recommend to you is it's a complete time saver. They're about $10 a meal, right? So if I buy like 2 meals a day, right? And then I eat dinner with my girlfriend, if I buy 2 meals a day, I think it comes out to a little bit over $100 for like 5 days of the week while I'm, really, really kind of in deep work during Monday through Friday. And then ultimately it costs me a little bit over $100 and I save like hours and hours and hours, right? That I would be meal prepping, or I would be, cooking, or whatever it is, right? I literally get the meal, I microwave it, I eat it, and then I'm done. Boom, I'm back to work, I'm producing more, ultimately making more money, okay? So look into meal prep if that's something that you want to save time on. Me hypothetically, right? Like I know how much my hours are worth, right? So I can spend $100 and save a couple hours of like meal prepping and cooking. It's a no-brainer for me because I'm gonna make that money back times, exponentially, obviously, just in those hours that I'm saving by ordering meals, okay? So meal prep, at least, or if you obviously want to, order, a meal prep service. That's gonna save you a lot of time. And at the very least, at least meal prep on a Sunday or something like that, or a Monday, so that ultimately you can just, go reheat those meals and you don't have to spend time constantly deciding, what do I want to eat, then cooking it, then eating it, and then cleaning up, all that good stuff, right? It's gonna save you so much time. And the last two are gonna be a little bit controversial, and full disclosure, the first one I am not good at all, and I'm just implementing myself. So like I said, I was gonna be transparent with you. So the first one is to cut out, or at least cut back on your drinking, okay? Now I've noticed, by tracking with the Oura Ring, that I am super unproductive and I get horrible sleep when I drink. On top of that, like for example, like not only am I not productive, like if I'm drinking during a weekend, like Monday rolls around and I barely get anything done, I feel sluggish, and then Tuesday starts my week and I'm like already behind. I hate that feeling. But on top of that, when I drink, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not in control of, right? Like my sensory acuity goes away, my ability to kind of pick and choose how I'm articulating things goes away, and there's a lot of things I don't necessarily like about it. So while I do enjoy drinking, and I don't see myself necessarily taking that and throwing it away anytime soon, it is definitely something that I need to cut back on and a goal of mine, okay? Now, a book that comes highly recommended by a lot of people that I look up to, and I have not read this book yet, but I will link it below if you want to check it out. This is like third in my queue, I think, so I will read it very, very soon. And maybe if you guys want to see a review on this or like what my thoughts are afterwards, let me know. But it's The Easy Way to Stop Drinking by Alan Carr. So I highly recommend this book. I will look into it a little bit more. Obviously, I plan on reading it. It's like it's third in my queue. But a lot of people that I look up to and I trust the word of have recommended that, so I definitely recommend that you look into it as well, okay? Now, finally is another one that's gonna be a little bit controversial, and that is to cut out or cut back on video games, okay? So this is something that I've learned, probably the past 2 years or so, and has been a complete game changer in my productivity and has helped me make more money, okay? So I've completely cut out video games. I played a lot of them. Like, you can go back and look at like videos from like 2 years ago, and I'm literally doing like voiceovers on like Madden. I could literally sit there and play like FIFA or Madden all day. I used to love Call of Duty and stuff like that, right? So like, I'd play video games. I get it, okay? I totally get it. That said, and if you're the type of person that's like going to like 9 to 5 or like working, right, and you enjoy like the occasional like, hey, you just want to kind of escape and get away from things, and that's like your leisure, by all means, like skip this. It's totally fine. I get it for some people, right? But if you want to be a high achiever, right, and you want to optimize your time, and you want to make more money, and you have like high aspirations of like hitting 7 figures this year or like next year, right, or something like that, right, you need to cut back or cut out, obviously would be ideal, video games entirely, okay? I remember the way that I used to perceive playing video games was like, you know what, like, once I buy the video game or the video game system, yeah, I might be wasting a little bit of time and not producing a lot, but like, hey, when I'm playing video games, I'm not out there spending money, right? And I could be doing a lot of other things, right? And that's kind of the way I used to look at it. It's like, I can kind of justify it because like, I'm not out there spending money at a bar, and I'm actually, kind of sitting here, I'm saving money, right? That's the way I used to look at it. But ultimately, now I understand second, third, fourth order consequences, and you're not just losing the time that you're wasting playing that video game, right? Ultimately, there's many, many other consequences that come as a result of that, right? So for me as an entrepreneur, I'll give you an example, and this could be literally applied to any situation or any person, but I can literally do whatever I want any single day. There's nobody kind of sitting over me as a boss saying, you have to get this done by this time or this, whatever, right? So God forbid I would go out and I'd buy like an Xbox or a PS4, or I'd play like PC games or something like that, right? I understand second, third, and fourth order consequences, so I'm not just wasting that time ultimately that I'd be playing the video game, right? Or spending the money on that video game, right? Ultimately, the second consequence of that potentially is like, I don't get something else done, right? Or maybe I don't get a YouTube video out there or another video out there that's gonna potentially draw on a customer, right? So that's the second order consequence. And I don't make any money from that video or any of the affiliate links in there, and I don't make a potential sale on like one of my, high-end products, is like the third order consequence, right? And ultimately, the fourth order consequence because of that is like, because I didn't make that sale, I don't have as much to invest back into my business the next month into advertising, and so I don't make 5 more sales potentially that I could have spent that money on to scale my business, right? And then ultimately there's a 5th, 6th, 7th order consequence, okay? So if you don't understand that fully, I think I'll try to link it, but Sam Ovens has a great video on that, on like second, third, fourth order consequences, and he goes off and like rambles about like this story that's super, super funny where like he was, he went and he bought like his new penthouse or whatever in like New York, and like the lady had all these TVs up on the wall, and he was trying to call like the company and be like, you need to take these TVs down, I don't want them. And the lady was like, you get free cable, why would you want to take the TVs down? You get the cable for free. And he was trying to explain to the lady on the phone, just kind of like out of, just to kind of have fun. And I'll link that video, I'll try to find it and I'll link it because it's a great one, you should watch it. But basically what he's saying is like, you don't understand, lady, like the cable's not free. And she's like, no, it's free, like you don't get it, like the cable's free, you don't have to pay for it. And he's like, no, you don't understand, like there's a second, there's a third, there's a fourth order consequence of me sitting there watching TV and getting this cable. I don't want the cable, I want you to take it out. So definitely recommend that you check out that. So obviously cut out TV, cut out video games, or at least cut back on them, because while you might be saving money in that time or not doing other things, there is a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth order consequence that ultimately is hindering you from producing and making more money. So those are the 10 things that will make more money if you implement them today for you. They might not make you more money immediately right here today, but if you implement them, or at least a couple of them, ultimately you're going to look back a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, and it will have a drastic effect, on how much you produce and ultimately how much money you make.